World of Warcraft has always balanced light and dark, but for a while now, one half of that equation has completely disappeared. This used to be a universe shaped by war crimes, corruption, genocide, horror, and true tragedy. A universe where choices mattered and consequences reshaped continents.
This entire city must be purged.
What? How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
But over the years, Warcraft has drifted into a softer, safer tone, and in the process, it's lost something essential. So today I want to talk about why WoW desperately needs darker storytelling again, and why Blizzard is more than capable of bringing it back, because they already do it in Diablo. This isn't about being edgy, it's about bringing back what made this world unforgettable. When WoW and Warcraft were at their peak, the storytelling wasn't afraid to get dark, because the world itself was dark. The Draenei genocide, one of the most disturbing events Blizzard ever wrote. Entire cities wiped out, families hunted, Valen's people slaughtered across Draenor. The Scourge and the fall of Lordaeron. Not just undead, your friends, your commanders, your family raised against you. The Culling of Stratholme. This is one of the most defining moments of dark Warcraft storytelling. Arthur didn't just make a tough call, he purged an entire city of innocent people, door to door, because he believed it was the only way to stop the scourge. It was horrifying, but a truly morally grey choice, and it felt real. Warcraft used this to confront tragedy directly, and that's why it stuck with people. Over time, something changed. Not in the raids, not in the combat, but in the storytelling itself. The world became brighter, friendlier, and more polished, but the lore slowly drifted away from the darker, heavier tone that used to define Warcraft. Instead of feeling dangerous and unpredictable, the narrative started to feel safe. Villains joke instead of intimidate. Major tragedies get reversed or forgotten. Characters survive things that should have real consequences. Big decisions rarely matter beyond a patch or two. The end result is a world that, yeah, it looks great, but it feels lighter, softer, and far less grounded than the Warcraft many of us grew up with. And that's exactly why people still remember the Wrathgate, Theramore, and the Culling of Stratholme, because those moments meant something. They had impact. They changed the world in a way modern WoW rarely does. People say Blizzard lost their edge, but that's just not true. Diablo proves it. So some of Blizzard are perfectly capable of writing complex villains, psychological horror, corruption arcs, tragedy, terrifying cutscenes, stories where good people fall, stories where choices have terrible outcomes. They can absolutely still write darkness. They're just not doing it in Warcraft right now. Not because they can, but they're choosing a safer direction. Even though modern WoW often plays it safe, Warcraft's history shows just how powerful the story becomes when Blizzard fully leans into tragedy, horror, and real consequences. These moments weren't just memorable, they prove that darker storytelling is when Warcraft feels at its strongest, and it's exactly the direction the game needs to return to. The fall of Quel'Thalas, Arthas marching through Silvermoon, the destruction of the Sunwell, and the slaughter of an entire kingdom, one of the most tragic and haunting events in Warcraft history. The death of Dranosh Sauerfang, a father forced to confront his undead son on the battlefield, and one of the most iconic and heartbreaking moments in Icecrown Citadel. Thrall versus Garrosh in the Grand, a brutal, emotional ending to one of Warcraft's darkest character arcs, and a reminder that actions should have consequences that can't be undone. The Death Knight starting zone, villages burning, innocents raised into undeath, a player being forced to commit atrocities as part of their origin story, pure horror, are one of the greatest intros that Blizzard has ever created. These weren't just dark moments, they were impactful, uncomfortable, and morally heavy. The kind of storytelling that made Warcraft unforgettable, and it's the kind of storytelling that the game desperately needs to embrace again. That's the Warcraft people miss. Stories that hit hard, stories that change the world. If Blizzard wants WoW to feel powerful again, darker storytelling isn't optional, it is essential. Tell me in the comments, do you want Warcraft to embrace that darker tone again?